a link from me, and I asked for everyone's hottest Kingdom Hearts take, and we had 450 total responses. I narrowed that down to about 84 takes or so, and I passed it off to Kiwi. He narrowed it down to 32. If we do 64, we'll be here all day because we got some novels here. So the goal of the video today, of the bracket, is to pit these hot takes against each other, and gonna emerge from the end of the project with the hottest and most well-argued Kingdom Hearts take. And that's something that we have to kind of delineate here, right, Kiwi? When we're looking at the original batch of 450, there's takes in there that are either not hot or they are hot, but they're not argued very well. So we're looking for a balance. Basically, for me, I'm not necessarily going to advance things that I think that I agree with, but that I think are most well argued. I think a good take for me would be one that I don't see constantly on Twitter.com within the Kingdom Hearts fandom, and something that also moves the needle for me because the person argued it well. So we're going to be pitting these against each other. They're seated, right, Kiwi? You've seated this bracket because you have to.
You gotta have a seated bracket. You can't come out here with the seedless bracket.
Right.
It's not a watermelon, Patty.
That's right. That's right. No seedless watermelons here.
Yeah.
And are they like categories or conferences, or is it kind of like story stuff versus gameplay stuff, or like what kind of approach do you expect here?
They are in rough conferences. Most of the combat stuff is all one thing. Some world design stuff, mechanics, and some story stuff. They're all plain for the most part. There has to be some crossover because there just wasn't 8 takes that kind of fit in one box. So I was stretching the rules a bit on those conferences, but for the most part, most of the combat stuff will be against other combat takes.
Okay, I like that balance there. And what else do we have to cover? Not everybody had a name associated with their take here, so if it was your take and you didn't leave a name, that sounds like a you problem, and I apologize, but not everybody left a name here. But maybe you wanted to be anonymous, because maybe you're about to, be the shocker around the world on the internet, and, Twitter might be blowing up at this moment, so these stuff takes here. Also, there is a lot of, repetition, so, you might hear a thing that's not similar to yours, and I just ended up going with one that I thought was, more substantially argued. When it got passed off to Kiwi, you might have made some stuff in that way. But don't feel bad, you're still being represented in spirit. And, thank you for everybody who answered the survey. I appreciate the huge turnout on that, and your efforts did not go unnoticed. A lot of them were deleted because the same thing, some people don't understand the assignment. 32 of you did. And that's where you're talking about today. So why don't we just get kicked off with the first round here? What do we have going up against each other?
Let's get started with a couple of scorchers.
Okay.
How's it sound?
Yeah, let's go.
Alright, so the first #1 seed that we're going to be dealing with is it's a favorite of ours. We encounter it a lot.
Yeah.
Terra is not dumb.
So glad I knew this would make it when I was reading through. There were a couple variations of this take, but this was just flat out saying Terra's not dumb. It's like it's the most boring thing in the Kingdom Hearts fandom to hear how stupid Terra is. So I'm glad we have the narcissistic functionary represented here. Alright, what's that going against?
That's going up against the number 8 seed. Light is not equal to darkness in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, that is something that the series has kind of been trying to pound to us, or maybe this person arguing that that's not being pound to us, but Light is in fact superior or inferior. I guess we'll take those take in depth. But I guess I'll read that Terra take, and then you can read the Light one.
Sounds like a plan.
This is from Anonymous. I'm not sure if this is associated with it, but it begins. Terra is actually not dumb. It's probably one of the smarter characters in Hearts by Sleep, as well as being a better person and friend than his other 2 friends. People believe that Terra does things and thinks later, but that describes the others more than him, and we see other characters do things that make a lot less sense than the things he does. Aqua was the stepmother and sisters from Cinderella, and immediately resorts to violence. She has to stop quiet fairy godmother, but if it does something similar with the dwarves, then there's a high monk who will stay in order to prevent his blood after his ways that will change back from Terra. He is also a more understanding and better friend. Also, asking for his explanation when all they have is Maleficent's work, even comparing him to Page One Riku, Maleficent's independent, Beauty's Sword didn't care about him because he found all the complete. He stayed salty for the whole game. But after the fight the DBS trio had in Raging Garden, Terra has forgiven them and sounds excited to see both of them again fighting at Disney Town. The committee is announcing the winners of the Dream Festival. Plenty of times we see Terra thinking things through and coming up with plans. He plays along with the Queen from Snow White's plan, even though he has no intention of killing her, because he knows that will be more likely to succeed in a brute force effort, the exact opposite of what Aqua gets chastised for by the fairy godmother. He is suspicious of Hades when he runs into again plays along to see if he can learn something. You can tell this because what's the emphasis of the sentence, Hades, you were just playing me. Terra wrote the last half of the Keyblade Inheritance ceremony that he does with Riku on the spot. When he does the fake ceremony during a flashback with Ben, he only does the first half, and the entire second half is tailor-made for Riku's current situation. Contrary to popular belief, very few people actually trick him. Maleficent basically mind controls him, and he doesn't give her the time of day. He plays along with both the Wicked Queen and Hades for information. Everything Jumba tells him is the truth, and he makes the decision to save Stitch because he sympathizes with him. The only people who actually get one over on him are Hook, who he had no reason to disbelieve, and Xehanort, who literally tricked everybody. In general, he always gathers information before he takes action and believes in his friends even when they don't believe in him. So that was kind of what I did with my because, you know, I think the more issue with BBS in general is, like, people kind of projecting themselves onto the characters and being like, well, I know Master Xehanort's a bad guy, so how can anybody fall for that? But as this person states in their take here, like, Xehanort tricked everybody. He tricked Ericus, like, to an extent he was intuitively, and he was, like, very omniscient in some way. So, we're not surprised that Xehanort managed to pull over on Terra when Ben people who have been basically living in a home raised by a fellow Keyblade master. And this man is their master's equal. Like, why would they destroy this? They don't realize, right? They don't realize that he looks like an evil man from fiction because they're video game characters. Like, they don't exist outside of the realm of fiction. Maybe occasionally, like, insane. I do like all the minute details this person threw in to build up the case for Terra. Like, Terra was never going to kill Snow White. He was just playing along with the Queen and Hades for information. I think that's a great pull there. Like, he's not as dense as he may appear. I think the voice maybe helps people kind of associate.
I think so, yeah. The voice acting is more bland and seems less expressive than the other two by comparison, especially. So,
I mean, it's Grayson Bond between Terry and Andre. Very impressive, I would say. I think it put Jesse above their performances. Yeah, especially BBS. You know, I don't know if I'm going to say, like, he's okay from BBS as he was smarter characters, probably. I think I'd probably put him with Ericus, ironically enough.
I'm sort of a Bavaka, but the three of the Wayfinders, that's probably big that he's smart. Yeah, the other two are faced with less of their characters. They're not faced with stones every time, right? They don't have to make the hard decisions. They're always faced with the heroes who are, you know, bubbly and clearly, like, in the right most of the time. I mean, they're dealing with the more gray or evil characters, right? Have some kind of respect in the world. They're being faced with disrespect to queens. I mean, he's dealing with right. I mean, as far as he's concerned, these are people that you should be
Like,
related
so not like office, like, he doesn't say, oh, your majesty, like, let me just, I mean, with Minnie, maybe, for a little bit, but, like, with the queen, and like, it's, he's being cautious, he's, like the person that gathering information, like, he acts like, to just say that Terra is consistently duped by all the Disney villains is, like, a sort of bad faith observation, like, yeah, and again, like, I kind of sympathize with Calico, like, he's just trying to do his thing, and Peter Pan fucking cut his hand off, you know, like, he's not that, you know, malicious of a guy, at least, in the Terra and Neverland, yes. Yeah, I love this, it's hard to see this, not progressing, but we're gonna check out this Light versus Darkness take now.
Alright, this take about light not being equal to darkness in the Kingdom Hearts. Unfortunately, in the Kingdom Hearts universe, light is not equal to darkness. Light is superior. Its use of the numbers 13 and 7 representing darkness and light go to illustrate this point. Darkness and light are said to be equal forces. That is why to form the Keyblade, equal powers of darkness, 13 pieces, and light, 7 pieces, must flash. Ironically, the total of those numbers 20 is nicely divisible to 7 and 10. For example, it is not indivisible without 3 of the 13 pieces of darkness, which aligns up to light. Shion, Psyx, Terranor, Vexen, Demix, just to name a few candidates, where darkness is really equal to light. If the claim that darkness and light exist in equilibrium is to be true, phonetic usage of 13 and 7 should poetically equalize during the events of the Keyblade Graveyard in Kingdom Hearts 3. Therefore, this apparent numerical imbalance points to the simple fact that light is greater than darkness.
It's very interesting.
Yep, totally.
Like, the thing about switching alliances with Shion, Psyx, Terranor, Exodemic, I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, the example that's laid out here does happen, right? 3 of the pieces of darkness do switch alliances, right? So that was there, Shion, Psyx, and Terranor, but it doesn't happen so completely, like, in the moment, right, where, like, it happens before any battle, like, happens, or anything like that. It's not that in that environment, they kind of played out, so that's probably why that's a little bit it's an interesting take. I probably wouldn't say that it's hotter than the tarot random one, just because you don't see this very often.
Right.
Like, I don't know, like, you'll probably come up with this quite a bit, but, like, I don't know how many people are, like, in between arguing about it. Yeah, right. Like, nobody's really dying on this hill. Yeah. I tend to agree with the take, and I would say that it's hot. That's why it's in the bracket. I just don't know. There's a lot of passion behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's an interesting observation. And it kind of makes you think about the trajectory of how the series deals with this subject, because in Cage 1, it's very simple. Light versus darkness storyline is always presented as being superior. Cage 2, it starts to get a little muddier, but not quite. But, like, once Xehanort shows up, like, as Xehanort himself, we start seeing, like, he's really trying to create that balance. And we're kind of trying to be, I mean, Arrogance learns his lesson, like, he was blinded by the light. You know, not everybody associated with darkness is bad, as Riku learns, and not everybody associated with light is always right and moral, as Arrogance, exemplifies. But are we shifting back to light being superior to darkness? We factor in, like, the darknesses and Union Cross, how, like, they're these primordial, like, super ancient entity.
So sweet, so crispy. Nobody makes breakfast as good as Wendy's new home-style French toast steaks.
Nobody.
Nope.
Keep talking.
I
can't hear you.
I should probably stop.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's home-style French toast steaks.
Actually, fun fact, I got my Spotify Unwrapped at the end of 2022, and literally all 10 of my top 10 songs were from the Encanto soundtrack. And honestly, that is saying something, because the other thing that I did last year was went to the Las Vegas When We Were Young Music Festival, where I completely relived my popular phase. Who am I kidding? It wasn't a phase! Also, back to Encanto. The point is, this movie is insanely bright and colorful, but the other thing that it does is tackle very real problems that are close to home and things that I think a lot of people can very easily relate to. On the whole, the idea of generational expectations and the trauma that can come with it is something we can all be more aware of and work to communicate in an effort to improve. But today's topic might just take it one step further and it glimpses into a darker version of Encanto that you might not be quite used to. Today, we are going to examine the idea that a young 5-year-old Miranda was already feeling the weight of the expectations set forth by her in the form of that generational trauma. The idea is that when she walked up to that door as a 5-year-old, she already had the anxiety and worry that she could potentially let her family down. But she even worried that not only might she not live up to her power, but also might not receive one at all. And so this is where the story, or at least our interpretation of it, deviates ever so slightly. Mirabel reaches forward, touching the doorknob, it does receive a power, the ability to shape reality. And just like when we see Antonio receive his powers to communicate with animals, where they just immediately farm to him right after he's received his gift, Mirabel's go into effect instantly as well. And so immediately, and even more importantly, without realizing it, she starts to shape her reality around her right away. And what reality might she shape around her if the last thing she was worried about was the idea that she might not get power? And that's what happens. Her power makes her believe she didn't get one.
I call it that special since, you have no gift.
And from that moment forward, Mirabel, the Madrigal family, and Casita are all trapped inside of this new reality that Mirabel has created. Hey, brother!
We love our new home. There's so much space.
But we have ants.
Expired.
It's a lot of house. Hope you can keep it clean.
At least Geico makes bundling our home and car insurance easy.
For bundling made easy, go to geico.com.
Yeah, everything does trippy song sequences, and it didn't totally make sense what was actually happening. Might make more sense now, but first, let me try to explain what's going on a little more thoroughly, because the overall premise of the story of Encanto really starts and ends with Abuela. We know, thanks to the song of Dos Armitas at the end of the movie, that Abuela and Pedro had triplets that were promptly forced from the town they lived in. Pedro sacrifices himself so that everyone else can safely make the way, and it is this sacrifice that ignites a miracle which is going to be represented throughout the rest of the movie as this glowing and golden candle, also Casita, and the gifts of the members of the band Madrigal themselves. And also, not for nothing, in this moment, I pretty firmly believe that Pedro himself actually becomes Casita. He's always helping everyone inside of the house, but the only person he'll actually take orders from is Abuela. So then take next. We have an entire video about that particular idea because I do that. In the meantime, though, Abuela's interpretation of the situation ultimately becomes that the only thing that actually keeps Pedro still there, still with them, is the miracle itself, the power. And in doing so, she fails to remember that the family itself is the miracle. Powers are out, but the further on in life she gets, the more she clings to this particular idea, and you can immediately start to see the strength that it's causing on every member of the family. Emma can control the weather, which is amazing, an incredible power, but if her emotions aren't in check, then they can start to control her right back. Isabella is literally planning to marry someone that she does not love in order to keep Abuela happy. Luisa can live literally everything, near as I can tell, and is still being crushed under the weight of expectations. And then there's Bruno, who never really did anything other than love his family, who removed himself not from their presence, but the knowledge of his presence for over 10 years, scraping by inside the walls of the house. And again, if you believe that Pedro is in fact Casita himself, was located in a space is so bright and colorful, but the ways in which these people are being impacted from the expectations of Abuela is straight up intense. I mean, they may as well have been camping the entire time. It's just, you know, camping is, I don't know if you do, intense. Anyway, with this much in mind, you've got the young and absolutely adorable Mirabel, who is at her ceremony to receive her gift. Her oldest sister is quite literally the golden child of the family, and Luisa is able to bring in so much service to the town because of what she's able to do. Like, in this scene, she's physically moving a church a church. And then you've also got Mirabelle's cousins, Dolores, who has the supersonic hearing,
He wants my babies.
and Camillo, who would have just had his ceremony shortly before Mirabelle's. It's really not hard to imagine not only the pressure from Abuela, but just the shadows being cast by the rest of her family. Each one, time after time, has walked up to their own door and received a power, and at least as far as Mirabelle can tell, taken a huge amount of pride in what they're then able to provide to the community. So what if Mirabelle is terrified of her ceremony? What if she is so worried that she won't be able to fill the shoes of those who came before her? It would be her worst nightmare. She approaches the door, and nothing happens. And these would be the thoughts that would be racing through her mind as she takes each step closer. It's the irrational certainty of the thing you fear the most. And she reaches forward, touches the door, and it all happens all at once. Her power, the ability to bend reality, immediately takes effect. And what she sees play out around her is her worst nightmare. That she isn't good enough, doesn't stack up, and doesn't receive a gift. And, for all intents and purposes, locks everyone around her inside of this reality. And now, to clarify here, this is not like one... division where everything looks a certain way on the surface but is very different underneath. Mirabelle would literally be changing reality, and everyone around her would act actually be experiencing it exactly as we see it. Right away, to me, it feels so very similar to exactly what Peppa experiences every single day. She has the ability to control the weather. It's immensely powerful. But because it's reactive to her own emotions, it can just as easily work against her. And it's just so sad to imagine this happening to such a poor, sweet little girl. But don't worry, it gets worse. Because the real tragedy is now Mirabelle exists, not realizing that it is in fact her gift that is causing everything around her to happen. And with that in mind, if we fast forward to the present day where the entire family is kind of in hesitant anticipation of her younger cousin Antonio's ceremony. If for Mirabelle, this particular ceremony comes with even more weight than it does for everyone else. You are about to discover whether or not it was only you. Maybe the magic just ran out. Maybe it's not just me. This would of course be her worst fear, which then would of course come true because she's the one creating the reality. We find out that Antonio does in fact receive a gift of his own, and it would further isolate Mirabelle's position with the rest of her family. In fact, even the very specific gift that he receives could be more underlying proof of Mirabelle's own power. She kind of labels him as an angel god. 5 minutes before the celebration begins. And so as Mirabelle is processing this bit of new information, what you start to see is, once again, her powers essentially going into and I will say that this next scene that I want to talk about, I was always a little confused about because I didn't understand how it worked. But through this lens, I think it makes even more sense. Antonio has his gift. The family is celebrating. They're taking a group photo, but seemingly reality goes into slow motion. During this scene, Mirabelle is the only one traveling at a speed, and you see her go all around the house. And a simple interpretation here could just be something as simple as, like, well, it's not actually happening. You're not actually going through this whole song sequence. It's just all of the emotions that Mirabelle is feeling inside of this moment spelled out. What if, again, as master of reality, she has literally frozen the scene? Like, have you ever been so stressed you just wish you could press pause on reality and just breathe and collect yourself for a second? I think she is pressing pause here to take a moment to collect herself and come to terms with what's happening. And what I think is happening is that she's reached her breaking point. And so Mirabelle, the miracle, and Casita quite literally all break. Or at the very least, the reality all around her starts to. Just a little bit. And I think this is a really interesting way to look at it. The real reason why the house is fracturing is because Mirabelle herself is fracturing. But it may even just be this small cathartic burst that is able to bring her back to center, even if it's just for a moment. Because after seeing everything, the cracks forming all around her, she runs in to let the family know, and they all come back out to the main area of Casita to realize that everything is fine. Everything is normal. Guys, we need to pause right there just to give huge thanks to today's sponsor, HelloFresh. Here on this channel, we are always aiming to blow your mind, and this week, HelloFresh does it for us. 40 recipes a week. 40 is how many HelloFresh now has available for you to choose from. They are empowering you to say goodbye, or as my 15-month-old daughter says, night-night, to your recipe rut to treat your friends and family to delicious new meals every week. Seriously, no matter what your lifestyle or meal preferences, HelloFresh almost certainly has something for you. From fit and wholesome veggie or family-friendly meals, they always have something for even the pickiest eaters. Like, for example, my 15-month-old daughter. And you can even customize all of the meals, whether it's by swapping the protein or adding a different side or even adding a protein to a vegetarian. It's seriously so customizable and allows you to choose between a myriad of delicious dishes. Delicious dishes. That's not hard to say. Delicious dishes. That one's closest. And my personal favorite part is that all of the recipes come pre-portioned, so you don't have to waste a lot of time prepping or setting up. Guys, if you are anything like me and you've got your job and commitments and friends and family, and you get to the end of every day and just find yourself making the same old things, HelloFresh is so great. I feel like we're literally making the same dinners week in, week out, and my whole family, myself, my wife, and my daughter all love the HelloFresh dinners. And like I said before, those pre-portioned ingredients are absolutely incredible. I almost always have dinner on the table within 30 minutes from the start. And with the time already so limited, I really feel like it opens up the evenings to not only have an overall better dinner experience, or just more time to spend with the rest of my family. I really just can't recommend it enough. So head on over to HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin65 and use promo code SuperCarlin65 to get 65% off plus free shipping on your first order. Again, that's going to be HelloFresh.com/SuperCarlin65, promo code SuperCarlin65 for 65% off and free shipping. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit for good reason. Link in the description down below. So the question is then, what had Mirabelle seen? Well, to me, even this part makes sense. Emotions, even anger, are meant to be felt and expressed. And oftentimes it is the act of expressing that particular emotion that will actually bring you a considerable amount of relief and but really, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and there is so much more evidence as we get into the middle section of the story. Because up until this point in the movie, all of the song sequences have been upbeat and spectacular, but also grounded in a way. And what I mean by that is, like, in the opening number, for example, the clearly magical. We see lots of fun and whimsical stuff, but it's all in keeping with the reality of what the movie has already set forth for us. Like, don't get me wrong, plenty of extraordinary things happen. Camilla shapeshifts, Camilla makes flowers out of nothing, and Julieta is able to cure a broken arm with a ring. But these are things that we know these characters to be capable of anyway. And the same is largely true for the song Waiting on a Miracle, the one that was just referenced before, where everything's slowed down considerably. I mean, have you even noticed this hummingbird barely even flapping its wings? But the important part is that mostly everything else is still ordinary. People dancing and touring on smartphones. We do get a glimpse of Mirabelle stepping inside of her own imagination for a moment, but I really think that's just a case of what Mirabelle is actually capable of. But the thing is, after this sequence, the Waiting on a Miracle song takes place, and everything fractured, things change. The next morning feels typical enough for the family. They're having a delicious breakfast on the lawn, but Mirabelle has questions for Lisa.
No one's heard the magical
This, of course, pushes Lisa into her and my personal favorite song. And just mere seconds into Lisa's song, new things start happening. They're on a circus tightrope, balancing a stack of donkeys, fighting off a pair of fighter, Lisa's Cerberus. After that, it quite literally rains donkeys. They almost get squished and then possibly take a trip to Yellowstone. Maybe the point is, things are starting to get real weird up in here, and I will say, when I first saw Encanto, it was hard to tell whether or not all of this was actually happening, or if it was more similar to Moana, like where they're singing the song You Are Welcome, and Howie is handing all of these different objects to Moana, and then at the end of the song, when like the background disappears, you realize you just look at a bunch of random objects. And that's the thing, if everything that was happening inside of Lisa's song was actually happening, it would be pretty weird. And the thing is,
What's your question? Have fun. Help your child find the way with Prodigy. The coordinates adventures. Take on more challenges and unlock big achievements. Conquer your quest, Prodigy. Join today.
Welcome to Rayman Shadow Legends. And if you're wondering just what you're getting into, Rayman Shadow Legends is a free-to-play game for your PC or Mac running on the Plarium Play platform. Raid isn't just any game. It's one of the world's most popular turn-based fantasy role-playing games, or RPGs for short. You'll collect awesome champions, train them to fight in teams, and send them into battle against bad guys, evil monsters, and rival players. But it's so much more than that. With over 400 different champions to collect and experiment with, millions of players, and dozens of different challenges and play modes, Raid boasts thousands of hours of exploration, competition, and technical gameplay, all drop-dead, gorgeous art and animation. Sounds like a lot to take in? Don't worry, it's easy to pick up. There's a great community to help you out, and best of all, it's free. And it all starts with Plarium Play. Right, so let's talk about Plarium Play. Plarium Play is our official downloader. It allows you to run Raid, Shadow Legends, and other Plarium games as native applications right here on your Mac or PC. So, what's that mean? It means you can play Ray with amazing graphics and butter smooth performance. It'll automatically up.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure they were. Again, if you compare it to Peppa and the weather, except with Mirabelle's power to